Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video, and this one is a little bit different. I'm just working on a 3x8 insert, and actually you can see here there's a pocket up top. These are from Allie Edwards. So I have a pocket here that's 2x3, and then I have this as the bottom portion, which is 6 inches tall. So it allows me to put a photo in there plus something else. For this side, I have this photo. This is from the long room at Trinity College in Dublin. And I went to see the Book of Kells, and as part of that, you get entrance into the long room. So I took a bunch of photos in there. So that's one. And then on the other side, I will have this photo. I did a selfie there while I was in the library. And then in the upper pocket, I will have sequins of some type. I haven't picked them out yet. It really depends on the background paper that I use in the lower section. It has to match both of these photos, and then the sequins have to match everything that's in these and the paper as well. When I'm thinking about paper here, I'm wondering if I should use the color of my coat, because obviously I'm going to have sequins that are tan, gold, brownish in nature. Those are very similar colors. I'm going to need something to give it a little pop. So I'm wondering if I should do this dark pink, sort of fuchsia color here to work that in somehow to make it a little more lively. I've pulled out my bag of pink scraps here just to see if there's anything in there I can use. I would be willing to use something that had a pattern in it. Obviously this is too wild, but something a little more subtle. But I would also take just plain cardstock because I can liven it up with the sequins, of course, but also with whatever other embellishments I decide to use. Sadly, I didn't find anything in my scraps that really was a perfect match for this. However, I found these pieces, and I think, if I remember right, these are all pieces of paper that came from a very old set of Creative Memories papers. It's not perfect, but I do like the way that it looks together like that, especially if I were to cut this down, mat it on white maybe, and then have a brown in the background or a gold or something. I'm spitballing ideas here, but I'm thinking maybe that's how it's going to have to work. The other thing is I probably need to pull out sequins just to make sure I have the right shade of pink too, that's somewhere in between these two. Otherwise, I may run into trouble when it comes time to do my sequins. All right, I found a few things already that I'm excited about. I have these, which are just clear discs, so they pretty much match with everything, but it gives a nice little sparkle and shine. So I think I might throw some of those in there. And then I found these two, which are these both from Cat Scrappiness? Yes, they are. So Root Beer Float and Sparkling Rose Melody. This is pretty darn perfect. I don't know that I can find anything closer. I may still try to go into my sequins that aren't all mixes just to see if I have a plain pink still that's a shade off that I could mix in with there. And then this, I love it because it's got different shades and tones of brown in there, and I could still mix in some gold stars or gold circles, something to bring out the tone in the books. So I think that gives me a good start. So I at least have those, which is awesome. I can look for the other pink stuff later. I do have my fuse tool heating, so it's ready to go when I get to the sequins part. But for now, it's back to figuring out the backgrounds. I went back into my scraps and I happened to find this, and I have several pieces of this. They're already cut to 3x4, and it's this lovely gold shimmer paper. Now, that isn't big enough to fill up the whole 6 inches, but I could piece it together with this and go half and half or a third and 2/3. I'm not sure, but I can cut it down and make that work to fit in there. I think I'm going to do that because I really like the way that looks. I can cut this down, give a very thin white border, probably just a 1/8 inch, and put that all together, and hopefully it'll look great. It does in my head. We'll see what happens when I actually do it. All right, I have pieced together this portion that will go in the lower section of the page protector. So I just did it like that, glued them together. Nobody will know. And then on this one, I actually took a piece of off-white paper because when I was looking at this, this is a very cream color bust here, not white. So I may end up having to change my sequins as well and find something that's a little off-white rather than pure white. But for now, I'm going with this. I did a very, very thin, I think this is actually 1/16. I don't even think it's an eighth. A very thin border. And then I will place it like so. I think just so enough peeks through on either side. And then it gives me room to embellish maybe. Maybe I'll go a little off-center more. It depends on how I feel about where I want to embellish, but at least I have that ready to go. I've decided to do some stamping down here. I wanted to leave myself room. I covered up a little bit more of this because it's right next to where the sequins are going to be, so that's a lot of bling type stuff right next to each other. So I have all this room down here. I think I'm going to use this stamp. This is an older one from Kelly Perky from 2020, and I want this one, but I think I'm going to not use the part that says food and walking. I just want these three, and then I can check off all 3 boxes once I have it stamped. All right, as you can see, I have my ink on here, and I left these 2 blank. I have that one. I'm just going to huff on it to keep it wet, and then I will stamp. There we go. And then, do I want it right in the middle or to the side? I think middle, because I don't know what else I would put on here. There we go, perfect. I decided that I do want to do a little misting on here in gold, just to bring this out, carry that through to the bottom. So just a little bit down there, and I better shake this up a little bit better. There we go. And then I can do just a tad. I'm not even sure how well that's going to show up on there, but I did get some on it. We'll let that dry and just see how it looks. Okay, I have started my sequin mix in here, and I have both of these in there already. And then I found these 2. This, you can see, is not a pure white. It's more off-white. If you look at it next to this, you can very much see the difference there. So I'm going to go with this one. These are both from Lilac Lane, 28 Lilac Lane, by the way. And then I have these, which are different shades of tan and brown. And there's a mix of round sequins and stars, which I like. And there's even some sparkly gold in there. So I'm going to mix a little bit of all that together, see how it looks. And I might still do a darker pink, I'm not sure. But mixing all this together could make it pretty full. So I'll stop there and then assess. Okay, I'm definitely liking that, but I do think I want a little bit of a darker pink, and I found this mix. I already had it in here, so I don't remember the name of it or who makes it. It looks similar to these, so I'm thinking it's Cat Scrappiness. I just don't remember the name, but this particular color, I think that matches my coat pretty well, and so I'm going to add some of those in there too to give it just a little extra. I decided I was happy with that mix, so I have it in here, and this is just about perfect. You don't want it too full, or the top of this will start to pucker when you seal it, and it won't seal well. So this is about the limit of what I should do anyway. So I have all that down there. There we go. And I just need this to hold up against it, and then I need my fuse tool. So I'm going to shake it down again as best I can. And then I want this lined up pretty close to the top here. There we go. Maybe down a hair more. There. And I'm just going to run my tool with even pressure along the top there. And then that should be enough to seal it, but always check to be sure. Yep, it's nicely sealed. And that little pocket is ready to go. The splattering that I did on here did show up. It's very light, but there you go. Hopefully the camera's catching it. But I'm happy with it, and so I'm not going to do anything else down there, but I do need something here. It just feels too blank. I could stamp again, but I'd rather have some type of phrase or embellishment from my stash. So I'm going to look for that, and then I'll be back. In my stash of black and white phrases, I found this little one that just says captured. And I like that. A little goes a long way here. I don't need it to be super fancy because I'm going to have a lot going on with these sequins. So now this side is actually done. Now I will have to move on to the other side. I have another piece of this gold paper. I can chop up these bits that I have. This is actually the back side is the same here. I obviously used it for stamping at some point. I'll have to cut that off. Or I could use the diamond side just to make it a little different if I want, but I'll figure out how to put that together and then I'll be back. All right, so I have that all completed. I put that in there so I don't have to worry about it. Now I have this side to do, and I decided to put this together and then have the photo flush to the right side just to make it a little different so it doesn't look exactly like the other one. I didn't want it too centered. So I have that. And then I decided I'm going to use this stamp that says proof I was here, snap selfie, so I can do selfie. I don't know that I want to have this whole border so that it looks like a ticket, but maybe, not sure. But I'm going to stamp it on this same paper that I used on the other one that's an off-white to make it match. And I will stamp it and then cut it out if I want around the edges, or maybe just do the center part where it has the camera and the wording, not sure, but I'll stamp it and see how I feel about it. I did my stamping and cut it out. I decided that I did like it like that, so I'm going to just leave it like this, but I feel like I need something else kind of sticking out from behind here, maybe, and so I'm going to look through my stash and see if there's anything I can find that will match, that will work just in that little space to add a little something. I found these stickers from Allie Edwards in my travel stash of stuff, and I think I want to use the one Explorer, but it's far too long, so I think I'm actually going to hang it off the edge and then cut off the excess. I hope I don't screw it up. I've never tried that with these. They look fairly thin where I could do it, but you never know. All right, I actually cut off part on both ends, left a little bit more here so I could try a regular size staple in there. Didn't know if it would go through, but it did. It worked. So I love that. And I think this is done. I'm going to put it in here. See what I think of it. That is a lighter pink. Definitely than my jacket and then this, but I think it works with all the different shades I have. You know what? I love it. I'm so glad that worked out. I love the sequins. I love all the embellishments and the stamping. I'm so pleased with it. So here's another one done for Dublin. Thanks for watching.